Those three factors that you mentioned, history, agency, and identity, in your work as a political analyst, I'd imagine that you have to be constantly cued in to the news, constantly cued in to what's happening. How do you apply those ideas to current events whenever you're called in for an interview on the news?
It's a big challenge, to be honest with you. And I think part of the challenge is trying to figure out how to bring the full weight of my bibliography, all the things that I've been reading over the course of a life as a scholar, as an intellectual. How do I bring that bibliography to bear on an issue within the confines and limitations of a soundbite? Contemporary punditry doesn't lend itself to long form. So I can't sit there and unwind an idea. And so I think the challenge is how do I bring my concerns, the things that animate me, the things that matter most to me, to bear on the subject in front of us? So if we're talking, for example, I did a show on Morning Joe, and they were talking about Taylor Swift and the tight end of the Kansas City Chiefs. I think it's Travis Kelce, right? And they were talking about the Republican conspiracy theories around the couple. And I was just kind of taken aback by it. And the reason I was taken aback by it was because it's like, is this what we're talking about in this moment when it seems as if democracy, right, is threatened, or the very foundations of the republic are under assault? And I'm talking about a pop star and a football player. And you know what happened? I found myself saying, oh, wow, this is exactly what Walter Lippmann was worrying about in 1922 with mass consumer culture, that people would become so preoccupied with their lives and the minutiae that they wouldn't have the ability to think and reason in a very sophisticated and nuanced way about the problems they face. Now, I disagree with Lippmann, but I was like, oh, this is where we are. And look at me, I'm in this moment. And so I found myself drawing on that as I was trying to respond in the moment. So I think the challenge has always been, how do I shift the frame in light of the concerns that drive my work? How do I get the questions asked that force us to go deeper in relation to the issues faced, and how to do that within the limitations of television, right? Or the structure of a soundbite, if that makes sense.